when you want to buy an insurance, there's a lot of product out there. It's impossible for you to choose. And the good things about AI, they collect different user feedback and user needs in order to match with the majority of the needs.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host Shripati and we're glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to the CX and technology experts from around the world. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual no-code digital CX platform that is available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as a top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO, and many others. We run the Engati blog, video channel, and the Engati CX podcast that receives upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. Our guest is Minh Tran. He's an investor and entrepreneur with over 20 years of investing experience. Currently, he is the founder of InsurTech Capital and managing partner at Mandalore Partners, which seeks to create an innovative framework that enables investors at firms in early stages to achieve scale and exposure to a range of traditional, alternative, and tech venture capital assets. In addition to his experience as one of the founder teams at AXA Ventures, Minh has also been an integral part of several other VC firms, including Nokia Ventures, Bertelsmann Ventures, and Truffle Capitals. Welcome to the show, Minh.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure that you are with us, Minh. Before we dive into our interview, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get exclusive content and from thought leaders around the globe. Minh, you have done tremendous work in financial domain. So maybe we should start discussing with fintech landscapes. Do you believe blockchain is here to stay and will fundamentally alter the digital fintech landscape completely, and especially with asset management and wealth tech?
Yeah, so if you talked about blockchain in the financial industry, it's like it's like talking about whether the internet will be there or not. For sure, blockchain will be there to stay. And in blockchain, you have to understand two kind of definition. The first definition is more around cryptocurrency, and that's not what I'm going to cover. Obviously, this seems to be a big topic in itself. I'm focusing more on blockchain as an infrastructure for financial industry, in particular to asset management and WealthTech around insurance businesses. So that's in a short form, yes, it's going to stay there. And you can see already a lot of bank insurance using blockchain on both sides of the work. First side is on the asset deployment, so they avoid to they are investors, bank and insurance, and in order to have a good coordination with asset manager worldwide, blockchain is being used already by a few of them to have a better view of the registry. And basically, we invested in a company called Isness in France and Luxembourg to do that. And you have also on the other side, on the balance sheet, the WealthTech side, where blockchain is used a lot to have a good knowledge of the distribution, because for a lot of bank insurance, working with a financial advisor or wealth manager, it's very important.
Right, and with wealth tech, especially, blockchain is now just gaining a lot of traction with wealth asset management projects as well. Do you want to share your thoughts of of how, let's say next 15 years or 10 years, blockchain is going to, where blockchain would head?
Uh, well, for me, blockchain is a part of the fintech and or the insurtech and now the wealth tech. Of course, a lot of institutional investors that were away from cryptocurrency will start to invest in cryptocurrency. You have, for example, a company called Tobam. They have a Bitcoin fund for institution investors, and they have like the latest or the longest track record in the world. So it does exist, but it's not common yet. But more importantly for me, blockchain wealth management would be there to be a part of the asset management infrastructure. So a lot of blockchain technologies are being used. So it's not a question of whether blockchain is or not going to be used. It's more which protocol and what kind of player you want to play with out there.
Right. Sure. That's true. Blockchain, I'm sure, is going to stay for sure for a very long time.
Yes.
We could move on talking about an individual as a decision maker. Let's say KYC is a very important part of fintech, right? So, what considerations do I need to make as a decision maker um, to weigh with artificial intelligence in fintech?
So when you are an asset manager, an insurance or bank, you have to implement KYC in your country based on the regulator. So it depends country by country, but in Europe, for example, you have common rules, and you have to do KYC. And in the past, KYC was done manually or with external platform and so on and so forth. And obviously, because it was done manually by combining different documents, so it could be, your ID card plus, certain other proof documents, where you live, how much you earn, or what's your, telecom bills and so on. There was a lot of mistake and so on. So it was very difficult for people to do at scale a lot of things. So you can do probably 100 a day, but you cannot do 1,000 a day. And therefore, there was an introduction of, artificial intelligence or a way to score at least a different document by doing that automatically, where no human can do. So that's the big trend that we've seen in KYC. And I can give you more details and more specifics with certain companies afterwards.
Right. But as you were saying, it is, even the artificial intelligence model needs to be trained for different geographies, right? Because what is acceptable in one geography is not, the rules are different based on different countries that we operate in.
So my conviction is that AI is there to last for sure, but AI can handle a little bit a piece of the whole process in the KYC, because KYC is fragmented. It depends on the local regulator. So there is no way that one AI can fix it all, and therefore you have to work with add-ons. So what we call weak AI from our side is that you actually have an AI, but you need to use a certain platform to help you and learn about it in each country. So you can do that with the team that you have in the bank. But again, if you are like a multinational bank, it's difficult to pay people, on each country in the bank, and it's too costly. So we've seen the emergence of weak AI in digital forces. So one example is the platform called Isait. What they do is they support AI by staffing a digital workforce composed mainly of women that go digital and work part-time, which basically enable you to do a lot of tasks at one point of time worldwide, with a lot of people who will not have access to digital work if they were not on the platform. So there's a impact dimension it's a kind of impact sourcing trend where you, as a bank or an insurance, you work on with AI, but also a digital workforce worldwide that have an impact dimension in terms of in EAG, in the S side, obviously. We've seen that a lot. And one key example is bank and insurance cases, for example, in KYC with Visa 8, where you have the AI to do a second document, but you need to be checked, country by country, and obviously you need a digital workforce to work with you. Otherwise, it's not possible to implement that on a larger scale.
Absolutely, and AI and technology with scale is all the next generation items. Moving on, what do you think are the main factors that determine the private equity and venture capital in the technology of investment markets?
So the thing that we work a lot on is the overcapacity of offer and the fragmented demand of projects. So we see that there's a lot of money out there. There's a lot of saving from users. There's a lot of wealth money that been, that slipped in private equity and venture capital. The rounds are beginning to be bigger and bigger. So there's a lot of capital out there looking for bigger projects. And that's fact one. Fact two is when you come to a specific theme, fintech or WealthTech, for example, you see that the demand, there's a lot of capital supply, but the demand is quite fragmented. So if we take robo-advisory work, you see a lot of robo-advisor, in each European countries, if I talk only on the European region, but there's no pan-European robo-advisor. Again, because of regulation, KYC, and so on, it's difficult when you are entering financial services to be it's not so easy to be a global player or a European player. So on one hand, you have a lot of people wanting to invest bigger rounds, and on the other hand, you have a fragmented market. And therefore, what we see in venture capital and private equity is the rise of the consolidation of those services in Europe to bridge the gap between the venture world, investing in robo-advisor, for example, and private equity trying to invest in a bigger player. So you see a lot of players in between try to consolidate venture investments, to become eligible for private equity investments. So consolidation of solutions is it's happening. It's happening also in KYC. It's happening also in blockchain. So and that's why you see individual coming up with idea of a SPAC, for example, which kind of answer this problem, right? Oversupply and fragmented demand. Going forward. So that's my view on the trends of the investment today.
But do you think the fragmented demands are due to the situation that we are in today, let's say the pandemic, or do you think that has forced some of these changes in the investment markets?
No, it has always been the case. If we look at 10 years back, or 15 years back, I was working in the telecom industry. And again, there was a lot of demand from telecom for mobile software and or mobile services. And at that time, you have like, big Orange, for example, want to deploy in 20 countries, and you have a very fragmented network of mobile software, mobile services, and therefore there's a lot of companies that try to consolidate mobile agencies, for example. And if you look 20 years ago, I was working for Bertelsmann, and it was the music industry, and music industry was awesome, going for a lot of concentration for investments, and peer-to-peer came, and you need people to consolidate the online services. So when you come to innovation and venture capital, it has always been the case. You just have to be there at the right place at the right time for the wave to play the consolidation.
That's absolutely. So thank you so much for your insights there, Min. The next topic that I wanted to really talk to you about is something that we work on. that is AI-powered chatbots. What is your opinion about AI-powered chatbots changing the support industry, and especially in the fintech and the insurance domain? Maybe as an example, if we can take risk assessment as a example, AI is changing the landscape even there. So can you share your insights with us on that, Min?
Yes, I recently moderated a panel on fintech global around AI with insurance player, legal and general, as an example, was there. CEO talked about a lot. So if we break AI in 2 or 3 different parts, you have first the subscription part, then the KYC, and then later on the claims. So we talk about KYC. So you have to talk briefly about AI chatbots in the subscription place or engagement with consumer. There's a lot of technology there. The one I was more impressed with was natural language generation. So which is on top of natural language programming, where based on the discussion that you have with a customer, you can generate an automatic report on the profile that you have. And there was a lot of chatbot using, it's not only chatbot, but using data crunching, right, in order to learn about what user want at that time. So if you want to get a car insurance, for example, you go to the AI platform, and the AI will converse with you about getting your profile. But once that is done, it's very difficult for the AI, for the chatbot alone, to be able to match with the right offer, because when you want to go for a right car insurance, it's very complicated to compare the guarantees. You can compare the pricing, so you have a lot of comparator give you a certain pricing based on your car, but it's very limited. So the best AI go and call with machine learning the guarantees, and based on the guarantee, you can actually have a better view of the pricing. So we see a lot of technology about that. I can name a few, obviously, but it varies country by country. And obviously, there's a lot of improvement in the claim process, right? Because in the claim process, you can use, if you come talking about a car, machine learning or image recognition to match with the right spare part to be changed, the price, and so on. So for me, you can break down AI-powered chatbot by the different sub-technologies that are below. So you have on the subscription, natural language generation on top of natural language programming, which is very different. It's one part of AI. Then you have on the claim process, the image recognition. What I've been impressed most with conversational AI chatbots is the ability to converse with you, but also to crawl data outside the insurance business. On the web, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, to come up with the right intelligence to you. So it's like you enter a shop to buy a perfume. You have based on in front of you, 200 different perfumes. It's very difficult for you to choose, but with time, and you have an AI capturing all the demands, you can actually match very well. So when you come for insurance, it's a kind of similar. When you want to buy an insurance, there's a lot of product out there. It's impossible for you to choose. And the good things about AI, they collect different user feedback and user needs in order to match with the majority of the needs. So that's why I think it's a big improvement. It'll also work 24/7, so it's great for subscription, but it's great for claim as well, especially for parametric claims. So you have it all the time. So it's a big revolution in the insurance industry.
Absolutely. Some obvious benefits are it stays online 24 hours and is online always. Willing to understand all domains, all industries, and powered by AI. Thank you so much for your insights there, Min. Thank you so much. Are there any sound bites that you'd like to share with our viewers? Any closing sound bites?
I think when we talk about blockchain, wealth tech, and asset management tech, we think that in this domain there will be a raise of investments. Wealth tech, it's a sub-domain of insurance or fintech, but it will be becoming a domain itself. If you look at the past 10 years, you see 4 dimensions why this will grow. Fintech, insurtech, and wealth tech have coming from a large industry, number one, regulated, number two, with obsolete IT, number three, and lacking behind digitalization. So wealth tech is what fintech used to be 10 years ago, or maybe more. And wealth tech is today what insurtech used to be, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, right? And so the same pattern are there. So history will repeat itself, and wealth tech, in my mind, will become a big industry going forward. There's a lot of investment today. The round are being bigger despite the COVID, and there's a lot of strategic acquisition. 90% of acquisition today are coming from strategic player. So clearly there are some sign that there's a demand for this particular domain where I specialize.
Absolutely. You could not have phrased it better. Wealth tech is exactly maybe 10 15 whatever fintech was 10 15 years ago. I'm very sure it will evolve into an industry of its own, and have a lot of people wanting to learn and understand more about this. So thank you so much for your insights and for your time with us, Min. Your insights were truly really valuable. At least I have learned a lot from this conversation with you, and I'm very sure our audience would have learned a lot too. We will be back with a new episode and a brand new expert again, so stay tuned, and we'll see you around next time.